Joining us in this enriching section of the 8th International Youth Conference. Our discussion today is titled Bolstering Civil Society, Youth Advocacy and Engagement, Tools and Resources, aligns perfectly with the conference theme of empowering youth for sustainable development goals from discussion to innovation, inclusion, and action. The theme for this conference underscores the importance of moving beyond dialogue and discussion to actively implement innovative solutions that drive inclusivity and advance the Sustainable Development Goals. As we dive into this session, we aim to provide you with insight and tools that empower young advocates to be at the forefront of this effort. The conference commitment to equal representation and ensuring that all voices are heard resonate deeply with our topic today. In civil society, it is crucial that youth advocacy is inclusive and representative of the diverse population it seeks to serve. We believe that the tools and resources we discuss here will contribute significantly to make this vision a reality. Our esteemed panelists today bring a wealth of experience and expertise in the field of youth advocacy and engagement. They will shed light on various aspects of this critical topic, from effective tools and strategies to the role of mentorship and international exchange programs. We hope that the insights shared in this session will inspire us all to take concrete actions towards achieving the SDGs and fostering positive change in our world. I'm thrilled to be moderating this session as I reminisce about the 66th UN Civil Society Conference in the Asian capital city of Jeonju, Korea in 2016 with the theme Education for Global Citizenship, and the 68th UN Civil Society Conference in Salt Lake City in 2019. I extend a warm welcome to you all to the Super Bowl of Youth Conferences during Hunger 78. This is an exciting time to be alive. And if you're joining us online, please don't forget to follow the hashtag IYC8. And also, you can get a chance to follow me also on social media to win a copy of any of my book, The Period Passport and Bomisi. I'm your moderator, Chase Inegbedion, the Chief Period Officer of Sanico, which is a groundbreaking platform that is on a mission to combat period poverty through the inclusion and the innovative use of technology and entertainment. Without further ado, I would like to introduce my wonderful panelists that I have on stage. While I take them on into a time base, we'll make sure we do this within 60 minutes and we'll give you the best time of your life. But first, I would like to at least introduce my esteemed panelists, Sharon Pierre-Louis, who would also be able to share with us some of our experiences, introduce ourselves, particularly our involvement with ENDA and the UNDGC Youth Representative Steering Committee. Over to you, Sharon Pierre-Louis.
Hi, everybody. Thank you. And hi, everybody. My name is Sharon Lewis. I'm very passionate about the UN, and I try to be involved as much as possible. I am an NGO representative for ENDA, and it stands for Environment and Development Action in the Third World. I'm also part of the United Nations Department of Communications Representative Steering Committee. I was involved 2 years ago, and then I joined again recently. Basically, I got into the UN in college, and it was suggested because of my interest and experiences to join, and ever since then, I fell in love, and I've gotten involved, and I joined the UN a few months later. Some of the areas of study that I have are pre-law, global studies, and sociology. I believe that all of the SDGs are important, but some of the topics and SDGs that I focus on are youth empowerment, of course, education, and positive mental health. I feel like youth have a lot of ideas. They're capable of positively impacting the world. And I also feel like as far as mental health goes, if you don't have positive mental health, you don't have anything. You can't be your best self, contribute, give good ideas, and you cannot collaborate successfully with other people. As far as education goes, I've worked in low-income neighborhoods. I've helped students graduate on time, get into college, teach them internship skills, done tutoring, and advised them on transcripts. Now, specifically UN-related and NGO-related, my organization, it's based in Senegal, and it was created in 1972, where in Asia, Europe, South America, Africa, and we focus on health, youth and education, empowerment, and poverty. So fun fact, over 400 young people have been trained in leadership for the environment and sustainable development in Africa. As far as the steering committee goes, it was created so that we're basically like youth at the UN, their voices are being heard. So we're basically like the middleman. We communicate ideas and concerns to UN staff. We've had the privilege of working with Hawa. I think a lot of people, if not everybody, knows who she is. She's great. She loves to hear ideas. She's really useful, more than a lot of people, which is great. As far as involvement goes, I've helped to plan UN conferences,
Um,
help to
help to
offend.
offend.
I mean,
Help
to
help to
attend
attend
General
General
Assembly.
Assembly.
I was at the ECOSOC Youth Forum, helped to bring young people at briefings as speakers. We have a youth representatives program. And as far as my involvement with my NGO, I help to make sure that my NGO based in Senegal are involved with what's happening at the UN. And as a youth, to have that much power is really incredible to me, that they're relying on somebody who's young to make sure that they have the proper information. Thank you.
Conference in Salt Lake City in Utah. During that time where you were representing the organizations, what were some of the key things, and especially engaging with youth at that conference, was a key takeaway for you in 2019?
I'm sorry, I didn't hear your full question. Can you repeat that?
I was talking about your representation at the UN Civil Society Conference in Salt Lake City in 2019. What were the key takeaways for you as a representative of ENDA at that time?
I think for me, it's learning how hard it was for some people to get into the conference. I've heard that a lot of people weren't able to get visas, and also just learning different strategies to help my committee as far as what youth want. My NGO, I'm sorry. Hearing their opinions, hearing about the different sessions, and then passing on that information to my team so that they can use that knowledge to improve.
And I have Rosemond Yeboah. Rosemond, as a member of the New Future Foundation, what are some of the key challenges you have encountered in engaging youths and civil society, and how have you been able to address them? And you can also introduce yourself to our guests.
All right. Good afternoon, good evening, good morning to everybody in here and online. I'm happy to be on the panel to share my experiences with you. Okay, so I'm Rosemond Yeboah, and I'm a master's student in international relations and affairs at Baruch College, the City University of New York. And I'm also an intern with New Future Foundation Incorporated, and I've been interning with them for 1 year now. So I may not have all of the experiences that you may expect, but the little 1 year experience that I have, I'm happy to share with you. I've also been hired as a volunteer with United Nations Environment Program, and I've also been involved with the UN and UNDGC through New Future Foundation, and also through the major group for children and youth for the UNEP. So back to your question about my challenges as a youth advocate. So, and it's a personal experience. So my experiences as a youth advocate is much more similar to any other youth. For the most part, I would say the first one is information. And I say information because most of the youth, especially me, before I got to even know about New Future Foundation, before I even started everything with United Nations, it was through the Youth Assembly program. And that was just last year. So I started everything through the Youth Assembly program last year without much information about how the United Nations works, about how civil society works. But through social media and then through generous people like Joanna, who introduced me to the Youth Assembly, I was able to interact with people, meet new faces. And then also during that same time, I met Queen Mother, Dr. Deloise Brinkley, which we've already mentioned her name, and most of us have also had an encounter with her. So during that time, I met her, and it was a lifetime change for me personally, because it was through her that I got involved in UNGGC civil society, and then through her I also got involved in the United Nations as well. So for the most part, if you don't have access to information, it becomes very challenging. And not just information through word saying, but if you don't also make use of your social media handles, the little opportunities that you have, like LinkedIn, and then also other platforms that you could get some information as to how and where you can drive change, it becomes very challenging. And then the other thing that I would say has been challenging has also got to do with policy barrier. And I say policy barrier in the sense that sometimes you get to be in a space, you get to be in a room with people who are more experienced than you are, people who are taking on projects that you've never walked that path before, people who have big bios, who have professional much experience, much more than you do. And in such instances, you may feel intimidated, but I don't see that as intimidation, but I see it as a barrier in the sense that it sometimes comes with some stereotypes, in the sense that they feel that you, as the youth who may have just 1 year experience in the civil society world, cannot come tell them what to do, or you don't really have much to bring on the table. But they rather see you to be more of an idealistic person than somebody who can drive change. And this sometimes, I think, like I said, with me it's not intimidation, but with some other people it may be an intimidation to them. And then because of that, they may not be able to, press on to drive the change that they're looking forward to. But in this situation, there are ways that I've worked around it, that it doesn't really become a challenge to me, but it becomes a learning process. And notwithstanding the policy barriers, the information, asymmetry and symmetric, all of that, the other thing that has also been challenging has got to do with resources, because sometimes you don't you may have a project that you need somebody to talk to, you need somebody to guide you, you need somebody to tell you, take this path, do it this way. I will go through this for you. I will take you through this process so that it becomes successful. But sometimes even the who becomes a question, because you may not find the right connections or the right networks to even talk to guide you. And then the people sometimes you may resort on may charge you some fees that, if you're a student like me and you're living on a student budget, you may not be able to afford it, right? So it's sometimes challenging on the resources aspect, but for me, one thing that I've been able to do, and it has really helped me, is the fact that I stay consistent with what I do. And anytime I see an opportunity, even if I saw it today and the deadline is 11:59, I'll still apply. If I saw it at 10 p.m. and the deadline is 11 p.m. and it needs a recommendation letter, I will still call somebody and say, it's 1 hour to the deadline. I really need your help to give me a recommendation for this position or for this opportunity. And I will do that because I don't give chances. And also, sometimes, if you understand what your mission is, if you understand what drives you, what you're looking out for, what impacts you are up to, and what kind of positive change that you want to build, you really know how to take advantage of the little opportunities that come your way. So I'll say that don't give little chances to pass by. And also, the other thing that has helped me is my social media platform, especially LinkedIn. I really go on LinkedIn almost every minute. I don't go to do anything. Sometimes I don't have anything to post. I just go to search for information. I go to search for opportunities, because nobody's gonna tell you. Nobody is gonna share with you. Sometimes people feel you're in a competition with them, but that shouldn't be the case. Share the least that you have, and you never know, you're just making an impact in somebody's life. And then the last thing that I would say is network. For every time I attend a conference, or even if it's a meeting, whether online, if it's on Zoom, I make sure I try to send a chat or message to some few people also part of the Zoom meeting to say, hi, I'm this, I'm that. Can we connect on LinkedIn? And then after that, I take it from there. So I connect with people and I tell them my problem. I speak up so that if they have anything that they could share with me, they open up to share with me. So speaking up about what you need, the impact that you want to drive, where you want to go is very necessary. And also taking advantage of the conferences that we attend. You don't just post the pictures that you took, but put down a message in addition to the pictures that you took, because not everybody will get a chance to be at the conference, not everybody will be able to join through Zoom. But once you post the picture and they like it, they are able to read the caption to know the little keynotes that you took from the caption. So don't just post the picture, but add some notes that will also, as part of the chain that you drive in, it will also communicate to somebody. And that's also an advocacy, in case you don't know about that. So yeah, thank you.
Thank you so much, Rosemont, for sharing that. I think Rosemont has gone from sharing her challenges to the solution, and she has also shared a two, three in one is what you've been able to give us today. And I think all I could hear that you were screaming loud to the audience to listen to is funding, 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 the challenges of actually getting to attend some overpriced youth conferences. And that's why we're excited, like conferences like International Youth Conference has made it free for everyone to attend and have people joining online also to be able to participate. Either there's limitation through denial of visa, and they're able to connect across the world. And that has also given us chance to be able to see that we can assure pass on these messages, making sure people are aware of the tools you've been able to use. And I remember you saying something about applications, and I also do the same, even if it's at the last minute, you just want to throw it in. And if you're just joining us online, we're still at the International Youth Conference, and this session is all about bolstering civil society engagement. And this time I feel very intimidated because I'm sitting right with the big elephant in the house, who tremendously is one of the co-conveners of this conference. I think a lot of our engagement have been at the Youth Assembly, the Civil Society Conference. Like, I can't even count the number of organization representations you've been at, hosting some of this youth event. I remember the last time we still met was in Boston when the International Youth Conference was held. I don't know how you do all of this, because if I ask myself a couple of questions, I would ask you, but I would love the audience to even first get to know you, Ali, for international exchange programs have actually played a major vital role. And like you heard from Rosemont, a couple of young people want to be involved, they want to be able to engage, they want to go all out to support. But you working with the AFS international programs are hosts for this event. It's a beautiful space. And you advising the UNDGC Youth Representative Program. What are your unique insights can you provide about the role of international exchange programs? Why do you do all of these things? What makes you smile in getting youth involved in these programs? I'm sure it's a couple of questions in one.
Because when I was young, I did not have these opportunities, none, and I struggled to get this. And once I got it, I wanted to make sure that I can, we can, make sure that we don't, those young people don't have to go through what I have to go through. I mean, yeah, the time is gone, but what you can do is make others' life better, and that's a joy that I think my other colleagues are also here, like in the room, that they help me organize it. We co-organize this together. But for me, the satisfaction is that when I'm providing an opportunity to the people that I never had. So this is the biggest joy that let me sleep at night. And I think we do it that for the very reason we try to reach out young people out there who do not have these opportunities, who do not even have heard about all of this, who do not even have access to technology, internet, or such opportunities or nice school building or opportunity to do something like what we are doing. So that's I think that is why we do it. To sum up your uh, question.
Thank you so much, Ali, for sharing that, because I believe one of the unique insight that you mentioned, especially at the FAF, I remember one of the programs we had in DC of a couple of youth who were passionate, who were hungry. They had come from different parts of the world. They were interested to making a change. And that would also help me lead to Margot Lazaro. I will call Margot one person who is very passionate of the youth. She is always showing up. I remember several times we've been on different working group committee at the UNDGC. She's one very passionate of. Even myself, she sees me and she motivates me, and I can't wait to be one of our youth leaders at the NGO Committee on Sustainable Development here in New York. So for Margot, people would like to know more about your work and what collaborative effort do you see between civil society organizations and youth advocates to address global sustainability challenges. Over to you, Margot.
Hi, Margot. You're not audible. Can you check your microphone, please?
Having technical difficulties. If you're still joining us at the International Youth Conference, we're live here in New York at the AFS Intercultural Program Office. We are happy to see that you've been getting, and we want to make it more interactive. So we're going to be making it to wrap up quickly with this. We're going to move into the second part of the session where we're going to be going to the heart of our discussion. Where yes, we can hear you, Margot.
Can you hear me?
Margot, go ahead, please.
Can someone hear me now?
Yes, we can hear you. We can hear you. Margot, we can hear you. Margot?
So while we wait for Margot, we can move to taking into the heart of the discussion about the resourceful tool. I will move over to Sharon. Sharon, can you share some effective tools or strategies that young advocates can use to amplify their voices in civil society?
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you. So we move over to Sharon. Sharon, can you share some effective tools or strategies that young advocates can use to amplify their voices in civil society, especially in areas where they might face challenges in being heard? Like myself now, I'm currently using the Z Food Galaxy 5, which helps me be able to at least give to present this. So can you share some of these tools that you have?
So I believe that youth are very important. I come from a culture where youth is not encouraged to speak up. They're diverse of a large part of the population. They're the future and they have a new perspective. They're really hungry to learn. And so some of the strategies I feel like would be really helpful would be for you to be able to conduct research, having civil society send their youth to represent them at more events, because the UN or UN departments give out a certain amount of passes. So it'll be great if they can utilize that and use that to, have youth more involved at the UN. Of course, I'm going to advocate for the Youth Representative Steering Committee. If youth apply, they can get in. It's a great opportunity. They can work with staff interact with other members who have a diverse expertise. Again, going back to the research, like going on the Youth Representative Steering Committee website to gain more knowledge, being more active on social media, signing up for newsletters. So like our department, the Department of Global Communications, they have 2 newsletters, one for the youth specifically, and one for the general civil society representatives population. So it is easy to get more information about events that are coming up. Certain events, like you don't need to have a UN badge to be able to attend. So that's a great aspect. Volunteering and interning, collaborating with other non-governmental organizations and youth representatives who are, they have the same interests and ideas, or even who are in the same region as you. Intergenerational dialogues, for example. I was a rapporteur in 2017, I believe, and that helped me to interact with the older generation and vice versa. So we got to hear both sides. And you in life, you are able to make a difference if you know what has been done in the past, you know what worked and what hasn't worked, and that will help to make a positive impact. I know that visa is a big issue for a lot of people, unfortunately. So I think that, there's alternatives like doing something in your community, attending virtually. If you can't come in person. And I think that I know that's one of the reasons why I really appreciate this conference, because a lot of people can't be involved in person, but they can do so virtually. Sharing knowledge with other NGOs, like me specifically, I work with my Senegalese counterparts and I transfer information all the time, making sure that they're involved, because they not physically here, but they are still here because they know what is happening. Organizing events, working with people, whether it be staff or diplomats or people in higher positions, if that's possible. Having mentors, like having Hawa as a mentor has been such a great experience. She's introduced me to a lot. She is a person who loves to listen to youth. And I think when you have a mentor that is super powerful, you get to learn more. And as far as like attitudes go, or basically attitudes, it's important to be curious, to ask questions. As I said before, knowing what was done before so that you can make an improvement in the future. Being open-minded and willing to learn and improve. Being brave, because sometimes we do things and we have to do something new, and it's not going to always be easy. Being persistent, not giving up, making sure your voice is heard. A lot of times people at briefings, they make interventions, and it becomes powerful to sometimes, hear the same things over and over again, or in a different way. And, also being innovative, trying new things, coming up with new ideas and being creative. That can also inspire other people. So those are my strategies and resources and attitudes that I think would help a lot. Thank you. I believe you're muted.
Might face challenges. You've been able to list some effective tools and strategies that people can use, like social media. And I'm glad to at least see. I'm glad to see even Elizabeth Advocacy of Icons of Change, who runs an NGO also that, and she's been using the tool of WhatsApp. I see her post consistently, and with that, I'm able to at least follow up with certain information she's pushing out from our organization, people she's supporting, people she's funding, whether through resources and all. But one key thing that struck with me, and I want you to be able to share a secret sauce before I move to Rosemont, is you've been part of the board of United Nations, and a lot of young people are out there. How do you get involved with this thing? Like, can you give us a practical overview? Like, what tools do you use to be able to get involved? Are there ways, like, are there strategies you want to share? Just quickly, like, okay, this is a particular event. This is how you applied for it. This is how long it took you, so that anyone who is out there who is curious, because we've always had conversation of young people who are saying, why is it only these people? Why must it be Ali, Chase, Rosemont, Sharon, every time at the UN, every time at FAF, every time at these places? Is anything wrong with me? Why am I not getting these opportunities? Why is Mama Awa not recommending me? Why is she not loving me enough to be able to be involved? Can you share us that secret sauce?
So as I said before, I think it's all about attitude. You know, you can't be a person who gives up easily, or if you hear a no, you just feel defeated. You have to keep going and being persistent. Ask questions, be there. Like I'm a person, and I think a lot of people may agree, I'm always there when possible. I like to attend events. Even if it's something that's so far away from my expertise, like technology, I will still attend because everything is connected. You don't know who you will meet. You'll meet diplomats, ambassadors. You'll like the other day at the youth assembly, I met a few Haitian people, and I'm always happy to meet Haitian people because I don't think it's rare, and so to have that they're willing to collaborate, even giving the suggestion of collaborating with Africa. That's a great idea because there's a lot of commonalities as far as issues go between Haiti and some African countries. So just being open-minded, doing something in your neighborhood, being different, something that makes you stand out. And again, just making sure your voice is heard, making sure you're there. Those are things that I could think of. And signing up for newsletters are super important because there's information everywhere. It's just you have to be willing to look for it and also being willing to work with other people. And again, being persistent. I think I'm going to point that out many times because some people give up, but you shouldn't do that, especially if you want to make a change. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Sharon. And if you're still joining us online, you can start sending in your questions because we'll be wrapping up soon. But Rose, I want you to quickly, like very fast on this. We want to be able to see how to elaborate on the role of education and mentorship. And she mentioned having Mama Hawa, but so that we don't make this a Mama Hawa event, because all of us like to make our mentor. What are your thoughts on that, at least in nurturing the next generation of civil society, and how your organization, I want you to be specific about your organization, the New Future Foundation. How do youths get involved? How can they seek mentor? Share your own secret sauce on how you approach mentor. What are the tips? You mentioned LinkedIn earlier, but what are the things you say so that someone who is listening out there can be able to say, okay, this is your own method. Can I use this method and would it work for me?
Okay, great. So personally, I'll say that one of the tools that has really helped me is the fact that I do what I have to do with no expectation. So keep doing what you're doing with no expectation. You never know who will cross path with you. See all the good work that you started with, and then from there, because if you don't start something, it is very hard for somebody to say, I trust this person to say he or she can continue with this if I give this to him or her. So you need to start something for somebody to see that good thing in you, and then they give you the chance. For example, we are not making this a Mama Hawa event, but you cannot say certain things without like appreciating the people that give you the space to speak up, and then the people that give you the space to connect and then drive change. But for the most part, personally, and then with my foundation as well, New Future Foundation, which is Queen Mother's foundation that I intern with, the Queen Mother actually connected me to Aunt Hawa. And then through that and DGC and then the UN and then the other events that I attend. But for the most of the events I do kind of look for them myself because as I said, I'm always searching for conferences and events to attend because if you need to drive change, you need to be curious as well. So for me, I'll say that mentorship has been a good part for me, especially with those two great women in my life who always recommend me to such spaces. And then my organization that I intend with is also doing very well for the fact that Queen Mother has been with the United Nations for a very long time. And through her experience, she's able to guide you so that you don't make certain mistakes, so that you don't walk certain path because they have traveled the path that you are yet to travel. She has been an activist before. She has been an advocate before. She is still doing it. And she's still supporting youth and children in education. She's still supporting women. So if this is somebody that is very close to you and you can take advantage of the fact that this person is willing and available to commit her time to support you, then what else you want? Because you need to keep up with what you're doing so that they can also trust you with whatever they have to give to you. So I'll say that one secret thing to do is keep doing what you're doing. If you think nobody's looking, somebody's looking. It may not seem to you that somebody's looking now, but a time will come where all those times will connect, and then you tell the story of how great it has been an impact to you.
Thank you so much, Rosman, for sharing that. I think 2 days ago it was raining heavily in New York, and I began to, when it was raining, there were just these tears that were coming in from my eyes, and I asked myself, why am I still doing social advocacy? What am I doing in the street of New York? Why am I crying so heavily? It just shows the passion, the resilience. I was writing this book on my resilience journey from moving to Nigeria, and now I actually serve as an instrument of that too, because I was running an organization called Padman Africa before it transitioned into Sanico, and I would come in from Nigeria to the US. And the question I asked myself, who leaves Nigeria with $0 to the US to come bundle one woman? And I go to our offices and I'm asking for transportation money, food money at the same time because I want to do youth work. And a couple of people will ask me, who sent you a message? Are they paying you? What are you doing here? And it has consistently seen that some of the things that you share about passion, resiliency. I wrote the period passport book, and I could see the number of people who were able to see me present. Oh, you're an author now. But the true question is, you have people who are able to at least provide you that resources. You have people that you just cry to. Like Elizabeth is in the room, and I remember my first time would be Elizabeth go acquiring an Airbnb for me in Jersey. And every morning, someone see me in my fully suited suit. They really don't know if I was driving 2 hours to come, and I'm practically dozing at the UN office. But these are stories of many youths that are in the room, that are online, who are being resident. But I'll move to Ali while we still have Margot on the call. We'll take Margot at the last end to just give a quick reflection of our program. But Ali, quickly, there are lots of youth volunteers who have been working with you, and you've played a vital role in fostering cross-cultural understanding, especially with people whose language is not English, and they want to commit, they want to speak. Are they speaking French? Are they speaking Chinese? Irrespective of what they come from. I want to be able to ask you again, just like I've asked other panelists, your secret sauce. How were you able to get youth volunteers? Some organizations struggle with having people to volunteer for them. Some organizations struggle to be able to at least say, how do we even translate to people who are interested? Because you can't say, because this person is not speaking very well or their language is not clear enough, I can put them aside. What has been your own tool, your resources, your strategy, acquiring these youth volunteers, and also making sure that you've given them room to be able to communicate on the WhatsApp groups, online, because I've seen over 6,000 very vibrant youth online. Some people are still saying, oh, I wish I had visa. I don't mind paying my hotel, my flight, just to come to attend this conference. What are your secret sauce?
I think we embrace diversity and
Okay.
we grow on that.
Yeah.
That's really important. We always discuss that it all started with when we started planning the civil society conference in 2019. And we would always hear that from Hawa, like, get out of the First Avenue. And that's when the change happened, and that was right. We get out of the First Avenue and we reached too far, to the other part of the world. And we reached out so many people when we were doing the consultation for the Youth Climate Compact, like thousands and thousands of young people, at least 50,000 young people that we have reached out, as far as you can imagine, through online consultations, in-person consultations. She herself traveled to China and many other places. I was traveling here locally to Washington and other places doing consultations, and even she went to Colombia. Other colleagues like Juan, they all were traveling somewhere and talking to young people in their local languages, respecting their local cultures, and trying to understand their perspective on the Youth Climate Compact and the youth outcome. That's when I understand that, like, you have to grow on diversity, you have to respect diversity, because when Juan was in Colombia, he's speaking in Spanish, he's making a whole lot of difference than I can in English, or anyone can in English. So, what impact he made was really important. What a friend in China is speaking in Mandarin language made, that was really important. What my friend in Chad speaks to the people in their own language, respecting their own culture, that made a whole lot of respect. It gives the perspective of ownership, not the volunteership. It's an ownership, because now they're understanding what we're saying, and they see that someone for speaking their own language, respecting their culture, wearing their dress, or that's from their own community is there. So that was what I'm telling you, when our team went there. So when we go there, when we do such thing, we plant the seed and it becomes a tree. And now all of those people are here at International Youth Conference, Youth Assembly, Civil Society Conference, and so many different things. That's how it was done, respecting the local culture, growing on that. And then we got so many local leaders. We mobilized local leaders there, who know the language, who know the culture, and we communicate with them. And they did the whole communication, reaching out the world. And that's exactly the model of our International Youth Conference is like, working with the local leaders. And they do it. They reach out the communities and they do these things. Even International Youth Conference, in fifth International Youth Conference, we started doing that. The IYC in their local languages, they organize it in their own community, in their own languages. Tomorrow we're gonna have the session on the Middle East. It's going to be all in Arabic, and it's going to be all in Arabic. It's going to be live from Qatar, Doha, and it's going to be all in Arabic, because the moderator reached out and say that there are young people who are making some nice impact in their community, but they don't speak English. I'm like, that's good, because our audience is the people that we want to reach out are in Middle East, so they understand their language. Let's do this in the Arabic language. So I think embrace it rather than impose. I mean, the mindset of colonization is like, you go there, you go with your religion, language, culture, and clothes, and tell them to wear this, pray this, eat this. We don't do this. We like say that, okay, why not you reach out your own people? That's the message. So that's the secret sauce.
Thank you so much, Ali, for sharing that. And if you're online and you're here in the audience, if you believe English is not your first language and you struggle, like, why should I even matter? How am I going to be able to present myself? How do these people speak wonderfully at the engagement? When I was even coming, despite the fact that I've been speaking for a long time, I also still get nervous, and it's good to know that Ali has been able to share some of these things. And I would like our audience to be able to at least share in the comments. And if you're in the room also, while we're concluding, I would like you to share your experience of being able to take it. I think Sofoni is already saying, I intend to create a community cooperative with a sustainability activity model that empowers women living below the poverty line. Thank you, Dala. As we conclude this conference, I don't know, Margot, can we still hear you?
I'm here.
From
Can
your
you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Sure, Abby, you need to mute this.
Yeah, but you were saying?
Margot, from your perspective within the NGO community of sustainability development, and what our different panelists have been able to share so far, what collaborative effort do you see between civil society organizations and youth advocates, especially for yourself? Why do you think the youth matters in this kind of conversation?
Well, I just want to know, can you hear me? Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay, so the NGO Committee on Sustainable Development in New York and all of our team totally are supportive of youth engagement. I'm totally inspired by all of the speakers we have here and throughout this conference, those who have participated and supported this initiative with Ali and Hawa and everyone. Okay, thank you for being the moderator. We and the NGO Committee on Sustainable Development and all of our affiliates and our sponsors are very, very supportive of youth engagement, not only at the UN, but in local communities to do, work to support sustainable development goals. We have had youth engage with us that came in to join us at the age of 12 as honorary advisors because of what they were doing already at that age at 12 and from the indigenous community as well for what they were doing for taking up the lead to make a difference for people in people's lives. So we have a saying in our organization, turn your passions into actions for change. And many of the youth are passionate about making a difference and letting their voices be heard. We always have youth at all of our discussions. There are youth representatives there with people who have raised billions of dollars for organizations and projects. They're there as equals, not as an add-on, not to do us a favor, but to come in and really share what they're doing and their part and to see about collaboration. We really believe in building partnerships with all stakeholders. And youth have to be at the table. Youth have to be engaged. I don't know what all other NGOs are doing in the UN community or in the various parts of the world. I believe it's important for all of us to step up and include youth, not just as interns, not just as somebody who can help us, but to be at the table, to really put their ideas there and listen and hear and be engaged. We really value these contributions. And I think youth can always be a part of any area, whether at the UN or in our own community, and say, what can we do to help? And it's not just about making copies. It's about really putting their ideas out there because they're going to see things in a perspective that some of us just might miss. And it's important for all people to be heard. And as I said with the Sustainable Development Agenda for 2030, to leave no one behind. And youth certainly will not be left behind. And by the way, leaving youth comes up very quickly. So use your time wisely as a youth because you have a lot to offer, and we want to include you in anything that we're doing. So thank you for allowing me to have my time back, even after the technical glitch that happened earlier. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Margot. Margot Lazaro is the president and chair of the NGO Committee on Sustainable Development in New York, the director of UN Relations for Global Family, and convener of the NGO Major Group Urban Cluster for the UN High-Level Political Forum at the UN. Hopefully, she'll be my boss soon, and I can represent her well. So to conclude this session, I know I have a friend.
We're friends, but I really want you to come help us. So join in anytime.
Thank you so
Always
much,
say,
Margot.
how can I help? We'll say that, and we'll invite you in. Thank you.
Thank you so much. I just got a job live at the IYSA conference.
My commission.
That will make a new conference today. Thank you so much, Margot. I particularly invited one of my friends to join us in this session. Her name is Elizabeth Advocacy. She would also be speaking on Sunday. But one of the questions is, having to hear from all of these reflections and stories, one passionate thing is what I've been able to see that young people run non-for-profit, non-government organizations, civil society. What has been like, just quickly, shortly, to share with people in the hall, your experience, at least running an organization in Nigeria, in Ghana. I always like the sessions to be more practical, but it's nice to be able to at least hear from you. Just saying it's quickly. Your experience having to run, you just launched your organization in the US, in New Jersey, and you drove all the way from New Jersey to come here. Nigeria and Ghana, how do you do this? Because there are a lot of people in the hall right now, and I was speaking with a couple of young people at a session 2 days ago. It's like, what do I do? Henry was like, I want to start up my NGO. It takes a longer time to get through UNDGC, ECOSOC, and all of that. Tell us, why do you do this? And how have you been able to manage youth volunteers, your sponsors from Nigeria, Ghana, and now in the US?
Thank you so much. I'm so happy to be here Thank you, everyone from all over the world watching right now. Thank you, Ms. Hour, for this opportunity. It's something that I do not take for granted. My name is Elizabeth Adebisi. I'm the founder of Icon of Change Initiative. 10 years ago, when I started Icon of Change, it's just basically to help girls in order for us to divert their attention from social practices like prostitutions and stuff like that, because there was a lot going on in Nigeria at that time 10 years ago. It was so much about health related issues, so it just started out of helping girls find value in themselves, because the way I was raised in a very poor environment, and I had to grow up very early, to start doing things for myself. So I feel like if I can do it without having to engage in social practices and stuff like that, anybody could do it. So that was where Icon started from. And I can tell you, for over 10 years, we've been able to empower more than 5,000 girls in Nigeria. And in 2019, it grew to Ghana in 2019. Yeah, we here. So this year we launched the USA. We are hoping for opportunities and partnership. But this is my secret: persistence. I've been so persistent that a lot of people ask me, who is bankrolling you? Because every time I go for interview, that is the question. Who is bankrolling you? How are you getting this money to do this much? And the truth is, I work much as hard to follow what I believe in, because I believe that every girl, I want Icon to be a safe haven for every girl on this planet, where you can go, nobody's judging you, you say whatever you have. That's why Icon of Change, we have different projects for women, not just women. We deal with young mothers, we deal with widows, we deal with girls. We have different sections. We have Icon Girls School, where we go to secondary school to encourage girls. We believe we have to catch them young, catch their attention young. We believe that we talk to them to trust us, to confide in us. So for the most part, there's a lot of things that we do, empowerment and stuff like that. So the passion, when people ask me, I'm so sorry, sir, when people ask me what keeps you going, it is just the passion to make a difference, and to make a difference in such a way that I want to make sure that every girl, no matter your background, no matter your situation, you can make it without being involved in extracurricular. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Elizabeth. And if you're just joining us at the International Youth Conference, we're wrapping up the session for Bolstering Civil Society, and I've been able to at least get the opportunity to be on the call with Sharon Pierre-Louis, who have an educational background and expertise in sociology, pre-law, and global studies. One word from you, Sharon, while we close this session.
I think it's important to, again, be persistent, have a positive attitude, be innovative, also take advantage of what you have available. The social media, internet, some people have access to that, and I feel like you just use it, what you have. Be connected with people, young people, older people, staff, just people who are hungry, have the experience and the knowledge. Thank you.
International Relations and Public Affairs at the Baruch College City, University of New York. Rosemond, one last word from you.
Okay, so one last word from me is never take the little things that you do for granted. They will pay off someday. Just like she said, she started 10 years ago, and people ask how she's able to make it. This is somebody who started 10 years ago, and you come back to question why she's making progress, because she kept doing it. She was determined. And so, to everybody watching us today, if your intention is to start something, start it. Don't wait for somebody. Don't wait for the fans. I understand that we have barriers, we have challenges, but don't let these things limit you. Just do it. Go all out. If you have to sacrifice through volunteering, that is also a great opportunity for you to connect yourself and for you to also make use of the talents that you have. And so that's just it from me. Thank you.
Ali Mustafa is a man of timber, caliber, and plywood, a man of multiple positions at the AFS International Program, advisor at the UNDGC Youth Representative Program. One last word from you, Ali, most especially on how you seek your partnership and how you will love anyone to support you who is on this call right now and who will be listening later on some of the support that you seek, especially in propagating youth exchange programs and hosting more IYC programs in the next time to come?
Start with first, one word, first three advices. One, never take no for an answer.
Yeah.
No is not in my dictionary. Yeah, how I know that. Period. I mean, there are other ways to get. Two is stay consistent no matter what. There will be hard days, very hard days, even harder days where you feel like giving up. And that's the time, that's the one last step maybe you have to take. So you have to be consistent and never give up. And your question about supporting us,
Partnership,
and partnership is we are based on resources. We roll on resources. We do not take donations or fundings, and this is one of the weaknesses and also the strength. Because also we were having a discussion that money comes with the ask. So we help us with the resources if you can help young people get here, help young people attend the conference. And if you want to be partner, come with the resource. We have a lot to offer. We have a whole lot to offer. We want to see what resource you have that you are able to invest with us and able to boost the youth engagement and inclusion. That's really important. So if you have resource, reach us out, and you know what we have to offer, but we need resources to make things happen. We are growing, we are significantly growing. Whenever we do IYC, it's always getting better and better every other version. So resources is all we need. That's a message for partners.
Thank you so much, Eli. And that's an open call for funding, especially bigger collaborations from other UN agencies, corporate organizations, using that, especially for young people who want to attend conferences like this, making sure the organizers, the teams have been able to at least have a greater coordination. We're wrapping up this. And remember that persistency is key in advocacy. Change often takes time, but by using these tools and strategies that they have mentioned and shared, social media, newsletter, online engagement, hosting events are the key tools. And don't always forget to volunteer. You might be saying, oh, how do I get paid? What do I do? But that would help you build experiences, because the first question that anybody want to ask you when you're about to speak is the first thing: what have you done before? Where have you spoken before? We have a great mother who has been able to at least take zero. For a lot of organizations, they want 3 years, 5 years experience, show me videos. But this is a woman who has taken entry level, zero experience, and come on board, just say what you have to know. And I think one of another key tool that I think a lot of people should be able to at least learn to leverage is ChatGPT. Learn how to use the prompt effectively to be able to build your story, your projection, your bio. And I thank my panelists who have joined me: Sharon, Margot, Rosemond, Ali, and Elizabeth, for sharing our experience, and for our beautiful model who has also given room for young people to be able to share their resources. I am Chase Tinegwe, Chief Period Officer of Sanico.us, author of the Period Passport and the Bomisi book, which you can get on Amazon. I am signing off with love. Thank you so much.